In Tomb Raider 2,
Well, I mean, with the amount of family computers y'all went through because of you, I don't
man, we didn't go through that
doesn't
many family
surprise me.
computers. We had one gateway computer. We didn't have to replace that computer. I
Okay,
mean,
sorry, I said that wrong. The amount of times your mom had to buy the antivirus.
we did change computers twice. Never mind. I just thought about it. I was like, no, we went to a Dell and then we went to an HP. So yeah, never mind. We did change computers a couple times. Um, but it was the whole thing, and it was called Nude Raider. And it was when Tomb Raider 2 came out. Everyone was already obsessed with Lara Croft from the first Tomb Raider, but even more so with the first one or with the second one. And every everybody had a friend's, cousin's, nephew's friend that had actually pulled it off. And what's hysterical is for me, all right, welcome back for episode 39. Actually, yes, okay, it is 39. I was
Hey, you
losing track
didn't
of my
mess it
count.
up.
I almost did. The thing is, it's been a while since we recorded because we did 2 episodes back to back. Our last one was that beefy, almost 2.5 hour long episode with Howie and Wayne.
Yeah.
So it was a big one. So anyone that is here after the goat debate episode, thank you for sticking around for the 2.5 hour long episode that one was. I can say
No
with
side
confidence,
quest or nothing.
I know, no side quest or nothing, just full blown yakking. And I will say it didn't get as crazy or contentious as I expected. But I know Wayne was a little salty. I did a TikTok video asking about people skipping cutscenes, and none of the comments agreed on skipping cutscenes at all. So he comments like, "I feel attacked." I was like, "Ah, well." But anyway, but yes, thank you for that. I can assure you this week will not be a 2 hour long episode. We are back on path with our normal format. We've got our story mode today, which is cheat codes and urban legends. We're going to be talking about it's game centric, obviously, talking about cheat codes, Game Shark life, things like that, rumors, myths, things like that existed kind of in that era, if you will. Our side quest today, we're going to do Power Cycle, which is a deep pull that's on brand with reminiscing about cheat codes and all that jazz. And then we're going to do Disc of the Day. We haven't done Disc of the Day in a while. The reason for it is that the focus is going to be on the GTA franchise. We know we got GTA 6 coming out this year, and there's been a lot
Hopefully.
of, yeah, well, I think it's confirmed, like locked in at this point in time. I've got mine pre-ordered already. But yeah, so that's what today is going to look like. Did I miss anything for the press start?
No, I think we're good. Let's hop into the story move.
All right, let's jump into our story mode today: cheat codes and urban legends. All right, so you know the whole thing about cheat codes and video game rumors and things like that. I feel isn't really relevant today with the way the news cycle is and the way everything is available all the time.
Well, and now it's just you literally just go to Steam, activate a mod, and it changes it, and it's the same thing, kind of like a cheat code.
Right, exactly. And
So,
just well, and like Easter eggs and all that stuff, like it's
mhm.
all like people get the games early or whatever. And I mean, literally within 2 hours of a game releasing, you go online and you see all that stuff. Because I mean, back in the day, and I feel like a lot of our episodes just back in the day, all the time, when it came to the things that weren't as easily accessible as they are now, like, it was all through friends at school or if you had cousins that you were hanging out with or anything like that. Which, I don't think I've ever given this any thought actually. Do you and Wayne have any cousins?
Yeah, a
Okay.
lot.
Well, I realized because like I know I don't talk about cousins very often because I mean I hung out with some cousins when I was a kid, but once I got older, I don't really associate with like anybody that's not immediate family. And I was like, I wonder if y'all have any cousins. But I have to give credit where credit's due though, because when I was younger, it was my cousins that got me playing N64 because I had a PlayStation, which I think I've mentioned that before. Um, but also like the magazines and things like that we've talked about in previous episodes, you would find stories about Easter eggs. You would find potentially cheat codes within those magazines, that you could find. And then of course you can't forget about, just having notebook pages written down with fatalities, with, cheat codes and, stuff like that
Random
or
things that you could do in the games. Do you remember? We used to. There was one that we had them wrote down because there was like. Remember on Mortal Kombat, whenever you would start, you would do the thing at the beginning, and you can make like Big Head, or you could make. Uh, I don't even remember all of them, but
oh yeah.
we used to have the like combination of what you had to try to get in before the game started, so you had it.
Well, what's funny is what you're describing was a midway thing because if you remember, NFL Blitz had it too.
Yeah,
And because that was a midway thing, like right when the match would start, you'd have the little blocks or whatever, and you'd spin them. And if you had certain values, you had like big head mode. Um, there, like in Blitz, you had like super speed and stuff like that. I actually forgot
yeah,
all about that till you just said it. But that was, I think, Mortal Kombat had it when it was still licensed under Midway back
yeah.
then.
Because I remember before we figured out what the actual combination was, we were just slamming buttons, just hoping one of them would pop.
One of them would pop, well, and then it would pop, and as soon as it pops, it goes away. So you don't know what it was,
Yeah,
But that was the benefit. I mean, I guess of early stage internet because Cheat CC or Game Revolution or whatever, you could look up what those combos were.
yeah.
I forgot all about those completely. And then of course, you had Game Facts online too. I mentioned Cheat CC and Game Revolution, but I mean, the thing is though, when you talk about cheat codes, like the only thing like that starts it, like when you think of a cheat code, even though it was well before both of our very active gamer time, what's the first thing that you think of?
The the one code, I don't remember the name. Oh, yeah,
The con-
Konami
the,
code.
the Konami
Because
code,
I
up,
remember
down,
it
down,
works
left,
on,
right, BA.
yeah, because it works on, the baby toy.
It does, and it bangs the. I feel like I can't remember if I no, I didn't write it down on here, but I remembered that whenever I was putting together some of the other stuff for future episodes, and somebody told me that like you can go buy this little kid
We have
Fisher
it.
Price toy.
We
Oh,
have
do
it.
you see? Williams got it at the house, but he doesn't have one up here. But yeah, and sure enough, you do up, down, down, left, right, BA, and it does like a Mario sound that
Yeah.
it does not make under any other circumstance uh, at all. And it just, and
Thinking
so
about it, I
many
don't feel like
games had that in it.
Mario had a lot of Easter eggs and stuff.
No, they had
A
some.
a lot of your, like, Nintendo games didn't really have the Easter eggs, like.
No, I will agree. They definitely didn't have as many as some of the others. Now, there were some, like, there's some secrets and stuff that we'll talk about when we get to some of the secrets. But I will say, you saying that reminded me of one. It was in Super Mario Brothers 3, but I think it's only on the NES version. I don't think any of the ports have it. But like, there was a thing on the first level where you go and stand somewhere for like a minute or something like that. And you can't move at all. So you got to make sure to get all the Goombas and stuff around. But you stand there for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then you can walk behind the level. And you walk the whole level and you don't hit any enemies or anything like that. I'll have to find out exactly where it was, but it was in Super Mario Bros. 3, but it was only on the NES version. I'm
Well, I
pretty
mean,
sure.
those are like, I guess you can say bugs in the game, like,
Your
those are used
glitches.
the
Yeah.
glitches because those are used, like, speed runs and stuff like that, like, they found something.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, and I feel like it's funny that we have not, because again, I mean, we didn't become game like I became a gamer with the PS1 generation with Metal Gear. I feel like yours came a little bit later. I don't think we've talked about Doom a whole lot as far as games go, but I'd be remiss to talk about how iconic Doom is as a game. I mean, it was a first person shooter. Bless you. I say that even though you couldn't hear you sneeze, but um,
I muted.
but yeah, but it was one of the staple PC games with like a god mode, getting all weapons and keys, and it had the keyboard commands right on PC to cook those in. And in general, I think a lot of these cheat codes, if I've understood correctly over the years of hearing about it, like I think they originated on accident. I think they existed for developers to be able to troubleshoot things and all of that. And I feel like I saw a documentary on this or something or other. And like
Where they
one
had it
time,
so they could like, they had, like, God mode so they could go run through something to make sure it did what it
yeah,
wanted or something like that, and they
yeah, it
just
was like
it was still in the game.
yeah, it was like and it was like a debug mode or something, and then it got left in the game. Someone found it, and then it became a staple for so many years. And I mean, I think for me, anytime I think of cheat codes, the first game that always comes to mind is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Li-
That's
Like,
what that's where mine because I remember we had a buddy that we would go to their house, on Friday nights. We'd go there with our parents, and we would go play whatever the PS2 if he had it hooked up, or we'd go play, we played Mario Party a lot over there, but he had all of his GTA games, and you have it wrote down, but he had them printed out and stuck behind the book so you could open it, pull it out. There's your whole page of cheats, so you could get infinite ammo or whatever you wanted to do for the day.
oh yeah, because I mean, and I mean, I played the GTA games on PS1, like the top-down view ones, and they had cheat codes too. But I very much with GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, like that was the whole thing. You'd either write them down or you'd print off the sheets from Cheat CC or whatever, and you'd stick them on the inside of the case. Infinite ammo, spawn in the Rhino tank, um, jetpack, flying cars, of course, lowering your wanted level instantly. And I mean, it was in how many times working at GameStop now? I don't know. I guess you would have still had that because people would have probably still brought in PS2 games or maybe with
Um,
GTA 4, they would have like they would trade in their game and it would have all the cheat codes in it.
we sold PS2 and took PS2 for the first like 2 or 3 years I was there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they phased them out for a while.
No, because
Um,
we even still sold new PS2 games because I remember it was one of the Maddens was or Madden would still come out every year on it.
yeah, they did continue the Madden for a few years, and but no, I just remember like, and it was something like we didn't take the cheat codes out. Like if someone traded in a GTA with cheat codes, we just left it in the case.
We made sure that nothing inappropriate was in there, and then we would just leave everything else in the case.
Right. Yes, of course. You got to make sure, that was the case. Um, but it was, I mean, that whenever I think of cheat codes, that is always the first thing that comes to mind. The second one that comes to mind for me, and I mean, I will say, like we've had the conversation before, I am a console gamer at heart, like will always be. Uh, my computer needs an upgrade, something fierce, but Command and Conquer. That game, now I did play it on computer a bunch, but when they released it on the PS1, specifically Red Alert, I mean, I wore it out on there too. Now, my cousin got a little salty with me because I knew all the cheat codes. So I would do like the money cheat on Command and Conquer, but the way they did it on PlayStation, when you had your icons over the right side where you could build your soldiers or your base or whatever, they had the triangle, circle, X, and square, and then you would have to hit circle on each of those. But it was a really weird combo, but it didn't have like infinite money. It was giving you like $1,000 each time. So you had to just rapid fire, put the code in, and you get instant nukes too, which was nice because especially that's why my cousin got mad at me. I would do instant nuke and and he'd see two nukes back to back, there was a problem there. But another PC game that cheat code related, and this has continued. Like you can still do this on the Xbox version, at least. I haven't tried it on PlayStation, but The Sims. Like, what's the most recent Sims? Sims 4, I think.
I
Is it?
think so. It would be on
Yeah.
Game Pass.
Yeah, because that's what it's on. But they have the same naming convention. Every Sims game, and every Sim City game, whenever you want to try and get infinite money or you designate a certain amount of money, they use motherlode. But load is LODE. Now, the mechanism for putting in the cheat is different depending on what you play it on, but it's still the same. Because I don't know about you. I mean, for me, whenever I've played The Sims, I literally will spend like 4 hours building a house on The Sims and then I'll stop playing it. Like, that's the only reason I play The Sims is like build a house and then I just move on past it.
Yeah.
But then another one, and this is kind of like what you brought up that I forgot about with the Midway games, but GoldenEye. Now, it didn't have little blocks and stuff. I can't remember the mechanism on GoldenEye for putting in cheat codes off the top of my head, but they had like big head mode, which on GoldenEye,
I remember doing paintball.
yes, I was gonna say paintball was another one.
I remember doing paintball. I feel like I don't think it was a cheat code. I feel like this was just there was a way to turn it
Like an
on.
unlockable, maybe.
Yeah, like it was an unlockable. It's kind of like like these aren't really cheat codes, but they kind of I guess you can say they're like cheat codes because like even like your next one, like you have Halo.
Yeah. Now I know I put
Halo's
Halo in this
not,
group. It's not a cheat code. No, no.
but like it's just funny because like if you look at it, like the Grunt birthday party, that was on every single time we played Halo. We turned Grunt birthday party on because we
Oh,
wanted to see
dude.
the firework or the
Yeah.
confetti whenever you had a headshot.
Yeah, and sure enough, I just checked. Yeah, GoldenEye, they're considered cheats and they're in the cheat menu, but it was just like for big head mode, you had to complete runway on agent difficulty in 5 minutes or less. And then you unlocked big head mode. So all of
And
their
paintball, I
unlocks.
think paintball's the only one that we played.
Yeah, I'm curious how to get
But
paintball mode
Halo's
golden.
one that like you would find the skulls and then like you never turned them on because most of them made the game way too hard. Outside of like 2 or 3 of them, because like
Exactly.
Halo didn't have the game. Halo, which I say that, but like I've played through it with all the skulls on.
I
But
assume you all have a lasso win at some point in time through Halo.
what?
Legendary all skulls on.
I did it with a buddy from high school. We had 4 of us, and we did it
That's
for Halo
what
3.
that's what Peanut was doing this past weekend. He did a lasso run of Campaign Evolved.
Yeah, but he did not make it through.
Oh, did he not?
Everybody got off on him, and he apparently turned it on easy and turned all the skulls off and beat the last 4 bosses so he could go to bed.
That's funny.
It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had gotten on, and he was still on playing on Saturday
Holy crap. Okay, well that's fair. That's fair.
because
Um,
he got off at like maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe it was like 1 or 2 because he got off and got back on at 8 o'clock.
Holy crap. Yeah. No, but I know I listed it under cheats, but yeah, so GoldenEye and Halo both were kind of like that. By the way, paintball, you complete the dam level on secret agent difficulty in 2 minutes and 40 seconds or less to get paintball mode.
I don't
So,
remember how we did that, but we did that because I remember playing the paintball mode.
oh yeah, no, and I remember that too. And then yeah, Halo, the Grunt birthday party, which was the main one that came to mind for me whenever I was thinking of skulls. But it's probably because
Because
I
that's
never
one
put
that doesn't really change the game. All it does is show you that you have a headshot.
exactly. Yes, I'm not going to put the difficulty skulls on. I want to put the fun ones on. So,
Now, like I said, I have played it with all the skulls on before, but
yeah, no, I have not. Um, and then I think Tony Hawk was also another one. Now I do think they had cheat codes, but I think they also had a cheat menu, like with Halo with the skulls or GoldenEye with the cheat menu with like perfect balance, moon physics where you get like crazy air. They had a big head mode, also, and then they also had where you like chronically have your special. I do remember looking up to see if those were available in the remakes, and they are not, or at least not what I've found, excluding PC where you can mod everything, so it doesn't even matter. So
yeah.
obviously these are alluding to console. Um, and then of course on Game Boy, on PS1, I think they stopped. I think these stopped at like the PS3
You just
generation.
skipping
PS3
Tony Hawk?
360. I said Tony Hawk just now.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I was reading, so I didn't hear you say
Man,
it.
you were just checked out. No, I was
Yeah,
talking about
basically.
it.
Look,
Yeah.
I haven't been up very long. Leave me
No,
alone.
but better than doing it at 4 in the morning like we did that one time. See, silver lining.
You are true.
Yeah.
So,
But
um,
I think the PS3 360 generation stopped these, but you
and they
had
didn't even have these like the entire generation. I think they only had them towards the beginning.
and they did updates is what they did, but you had Game Genie,
Yeah,
Game
but they
Shark.
stopped them. That's what I'm saying. They stopped the updates.
Yes, yes. Um and yeah, it looks like they stopped early to mid 2010s, and it's because of anti-piracy measures. Because they were basically full-blown hacks into the game basically.
Mhm.
And yeah, the final product that released was for the 3DS. Um, because it had where you could download like saves and load in saves for games. So I
You
mean,
could do Pokemon. You could even do infinite anything. So infinite rare
yes.
candies or mouse balls, like you have, and then you could also like. So this isn't anything to do with this, but talking about like, do you know which one I remember doing the most? Did you ever do on Pokemon Red and Blue? Did you ever do the infinite Master Ball or infinite rare candy glitch?
Oh yeah, 100%, absolutely.
Do you remember it? Do you
Yeah.
remember what you had to do?
Oh, absolutely not. I remember doing it, but I don't
You had to
remember.
talk to the guy. You had to talk to the guy in Viridian City, and then after you talked to the guy in Viridian City, you had to fly to Cinnabar Island. Or I think there's another step in between, but then you flew to Cinnabar Island, and then you surfed up and down that right coast, and you had to tap AB the entire time and find the missing no, and then after you killed the missing no, it would give you infinite.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you
yeah.
caught the missing no, because if you caught the missing no, I don't know if you ever did it, but we've done it before. It breaks your game.
Yeah, so in that, ironically enough, when we get into gaming's greatest rumors, that was one that was a rumor that turned out to be true. And yeah, like it would break, and that's the thing. I mean, that's just a one example of it breaking your game. But I know there were several Game Sharks that I used. Like when I beat the PS1 Final Fantasies 7, 8, and 9. Now I did 8, 9, and 7 as far as my order was concerned. But once I beat them, I didn't feel that itch to go back through. I think I probably went through them twice or whatever. But Game Sharks would give you the like you boot up the Game Shark and you'd have infinite health and all this stuff and then load your game up. But I clearly remember going through Final Fantasy 8 again and whenever I went to load, like I stopped playing after I moved to disc 2 or whatever. And when I tried to come back, it wouldn't work. Like it was just completely shot for some reason. And then I found out that was apparently a known issue with multi-disc games. Um, but like, and you would either have to like, I feel like once it got later, they had you do updates to your computer or whatever. But I mean, they were essentially mods for consoles, basically. I
Yeah.
mean, because the games that didn't have like what GTA had with infinite health and this, it gave you those and all these random games, but then it would break stuff.
Yep.
Um, now I think I don't know if I brought it up on the podcast before or not. I know I've done TikToks about it, but there was a device. So you remember, um, you probably don't remember Game Force on Bardstown Road, but I'm sure you remember Game Factor up there in Hillview by Walmart.
Yeah.
So I think they were owned by the same guys, but Game Force. So I had heard that there were Dragon Ball games on the PS1. Had no idea. I had just gotten, into Dragon Ball in 98, and I had heard there were Dragon Ball games on PS1. And that Game Force had them. And there's three games that came out on the PS1: GT Final Bout, Ultimate Battle 22, and there's another one. It's not called Sagas, but it's some name I can't remember. Anyway, they did eventually release in the US, but Game Force had these games. So this isn't really a cheat or a hack per se, but it was a very unique way to play these games. There was a device for the PS1, not the small white PS1 like the original PlayStation. There was this device called a Goldfinger. And when I went to Game Force, I was like, "Hey, I hear you have these Dragon Ball games. I want to buy them." First off, they were like $80 a piece, which is insane. But second of all, you had to buy like a $50 device called a Goldfinger, and it popped
I
on the
remember
back.
you have told this. I do remember this.
Yeah, you had to pop it on the back just like a Game Shark, and then you had to open the tray, pop a spring in to hold the button down, and you had to play the game with the disc tray open. And it would allow you to play region locked Japanese games, which was insane. Like I loved it because obviously I was like super. I mean, I've always been on the Dragon Ball hype train, but I was super on it right then, and no one else that I knew had these games. Like it was truly just like I was the only person that had them. So I was taking my Goldfinger and my games everywhere I went. That it was amazing. Like I mean they had cool cutscenes in them, and of course you look back at it now, they look super dated. And they did end up releasing them in the US. Like you can buy, an English version of Ultimate Battle 22. Heck, I got the emulations on my Steam Deck, which I need to boot up. I haven't booted my Steam Deck up in a while, actually. Since I think the last time I did was when you brought up the bouncer, and I was like, "Oh man, the bouncer!" And I downloaded that emulator
Fantastic.
that day. Oh, it's so good, so good. So, but to the point of when you said Mario didn't really have cheats or anything per se, but when it comes to like secrets in games, one of the first things that came to mind whenever I thought of secrets, again, Super Mario Brothers 3, but the whistles, the warp whistles. Because I'm sure you remember those. At least I assume, right?
Yeah.
Because you could. It was at the second level on Super Mario Brothers 3, and you could get up on the top, run all the way to the end. No, wait a minute. That's in the original one with the warp tunnels. How did I get a warp whistle? Now I can't remember how I got the warp whistle, but you get these whistles, and then you use the whistle, and it takes you to another level. That's what it was. I'm getting the warp tunnels and the warp whistles mixed up. The warp tunnels were in the first Mario. The warp whistles were in Super Mario Brothers 3. So they may not have had cheat codes, but they definitely had like secrets in them regardless. Now I feel bad. I meant to ask Brian about this one. Some of this stuff I was just kind of looking up online very quickly just to have a couple things about secrets. And I don't remember this one, but I guess Zelda
As
Ocarina of
much as
Time.
I've played Zelda, I don't remember the hidden rooms in Zelda either.
Yeah, and so apparently, there were like secret grottos around Hyrule that had like false walls and dungeons and and stuff like that. There's a few notable hidden rooms. Ganon's castle fairy room. The fire temple had a top floor. You got to have the Scarecrow's song to hook shot up to a
Oh no, I do remember some of these.
yeah.
I think
And
actually going to our guide episode, I think these are in the guide.
okay, probably. I would think so.
Yeah, so
Um,
I think so.
and then yeah, it looks like 33 secret grottos, bottom of the well, and Shadow Temple false wells. So because obviously Zelda is not. I mean, I played the crap out of it, but
Well, that you get the when you get the Eye of Truth, you can start saying them because they're all through false walls. So you Eye of Truth a wall, and it just
that's
goes
right.
away, and you can walk through it.
That's right. That's right. Um, and then Sonic had secrets with like level select. They had like an early version of cheat codes with a debug mode you could get access to on Sega Genesis. Um, and then I think it was Sonic 3 where you could get so yeah, I think it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is where you could get it by getting all 7 Chaos Emeralds and having at least 50 rings, and you would get Super Saiyan Sonic or Super Sonic. He's gold, he's Super Saiyan. Like that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Um and of course Mortal Kombat. I mean, I
Well, most
feel
of them, I don't.
well, no, I was gonna say I feel Mortal Kombat, like GTA, was notorious for having pieces of paper with stuff written down on it.
Because it had these in them. It had the fatalities, animalities, the babalities. My favorite ones were the animalities. I love the animalities because they were
Oh,
cool. Turning Liu Kang into a dragon, fantastic.
well,
Um,
and I feel like that, like they obviously kept some of that. They didn't call them animalities or anything like that, but like the most recent Mortal Kombat's like one of his key fatalities is turning into a big old dragon, and it's just
yeah.
not called animality anymore.
Well,
Um,
and then, but Mortal Kombat kind of switched to this too. That's what I was going to bring up because after the next couple, it's all about like character unlocks and you have to find things in the game to unlock other things, stuff like that. Well, a lot of your games are shifting to that now, where it's like Resident Evil's the perfect aspect. You play through the game, you get the coins in Resident Evil, you buy stuff afterwards, or you do things in the game like you beat the game on this mode, you get X amount, and you can go to a store and buy stuff to change the game. Which Resident Evil's done that forever, but
oh yeah, well, and again, this isn't talking PC because PC can do whatever the hell they want, but Mortal Kombat had secret characters and character unlocks in addition to their fatalities and stuff. All the Dragon Ball fighting games were notorious for that.
Unlocks.
And I feel like Budokai 3 is always the one that's always my favorite. Like I had to look up on Cheat CC like how to unlock certain characters. Like it wasn't super
Yeah.
obvious.
Well, like I remember Smoke was the one in Mortal Kombat in a lot of them. I think it was Mortal Kombat 3, maybe.
Yeah.
That Smoke was your unlock. And then it got to the point where you had like 6 characters and you just had to play the game and you would do Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers was all about character
Oh
unlocks. You had
yes.
to do certain things. Cuz Smash Brothers, like, you would have to beat the story with X character to get X unlocked. Like I think it was to get Falco, you had to beat it with Fox, and then you had to beat it with Falco to get someone. Like it was like an extension of unlocks of how you get your characters.
Yep. I completely forgot about Smash. See, I suck so bad at Smash. I've played it, and obviously I
I
played
enjoy
the
Smash. When the Smash came out on the Switch, like I actually played quite a bit of it when it first came out. My brother-in-law plays it. I don't know if he still does, but he played it a lot.
really.
Yeah, he was really good at it.
Yeah, I got it obviously because Snake was in it. And like I have the Snake. Where's it at? Yeah, there it is. I have the Snake amiibo. See? Yeah. Um, but I forgot about Super Smash Brothers. And then yeah, I mean obviously some games are going away from, or they have character unlocks, but then they come out with characters for you to buy. I mean that's the microtransaction thing of the world. I will say, I am
Well, that's
so
how they're all doing it now. Mortal Kombat, looks like Mortal Kombat's what Peacemaker. You have
the
Homelander.
in the Invincible guy, Omni Man.
Yeah, Omni
You know,
Man. Yeah, like they did.
well, in Sparking Zero, like it's so funny. We've talked about, and we've got an episode coming up where we talk about our backlogs and new games coming out. So I just finished Halo, so we did Assassin's Creed and finished Halo. I've now got about a month before Metal Gear and Star Wars. I keep wanting to call it Zero Hour. No, it's Zero Company, right?
Zero Company.
Yeah. So those come out the same daggone day. Sparking Zero's new DLC comes out in just a couple days. So actually, when this episode comes out, oh yeah, no, it comes out tomorrow. So on the 30th is when the episode, or when the Sparking Zero DLC comes out. Now I got to look up and see what all new characters and outfits there are, but there's new super moves, there's a new single player mode, and all that stuff. But I will be getting that. That's going to be something that's going to scratch that itch until Metal Gear stuff comes out. I am so ashamed of myself when I made this list of secrets that I did not put Metal Gear Solid on here. Because I cannot believe that I didn't. Because Metal Gear Solid, and you don't know, you haven't played it, but Metal Gear Solid had 2 secret unlocks in the first game. And there's a part in the game where you're getting tortured and you have to button mash. And it sucks. Like you got to hit it really fast. If you resist to the torture, you get one ending to the game and you unlock the bandana, which gives you infinite ammo in your next playthrough. If you give up on the torture, you unlock the stealth camouflage, which makes you completely invisible for your next playthrough. And I didn't know that until like I did my first time playing my little 9-year-old self. I did not successfully get through that. So the ending I got was the non-canon ending, and I got the stealth camo, and then I looked up online that I could get the bandana. So I was like, but I was very disappointed that I didn't list that. Oh yeah, you already brought
Didn't
up
Left 4
Resident
Dead
Evil.
have those too?
I think so, or something
Left 4 Dead
similar.
has that unlock thing too, I think, where it's like depending, like you get points for going through the campaign and you can change what you do in the game and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
think.
I will say I love that Resident Evil mechanism where you get credits or coins or whatever, and then you can buy that stuff
Well,
at the end.
it's what makes a game that doesn't have a lot of replay value have replay value.
Replayable, exactly. Yeah. Now, given I also don't mind if they release a pack for $10 to give me the unlock either.
Well, I was talking to my buddy who was playing the newest Resident Evil. He's playing the far out of it whenever it first came out. And he was talking about how like infinite ammo in Resident Evil. So he bought infinite ammo and then had the gun, or you could buy certain, I guess, different guns or something. And he was still, even on the hardest difficulty, because if you get touched, you die.
Yeah.
Like that's how hard it is. So
Yeah. Obviously, I'm
he
not
was
playing
talking about
that,
how
but
it's
I've heard
still
about it.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now, so as far as because the episode, our story mode itself, is cheat codes and urban legends. So in talking about some of gaming's greatest rumors or
Which some of
myths,
these I've already kind of brought up.
yeah. So, well, the first one I'm going to bring up actually, I didn't even remember, but I did a TikTok today where I basically asked, I was like, "Hey, what is some of your uh, most memorable gaming rumors, or urban legends?" Now, some of the ones that got brought up in the comments we're gonna bring up, but the one I didn't think of, and we just talked about it, but talking about the original Halo, there was, and I remember hearing all about this, that if you did a lasso run with, so legendary, all skulls on, there were these rumors going rampant that Master Chief would take his helmet off at the end if you
Oh,
completed
I
one of
do
those runs.
remember that.
I know I hadn't even thought about it, and I just finished Campaign Evolved, but I know for a fact that I never have I beaten Halo, all the Halos on Legendary. Yes, by myself, no, but never a lasso run ever.
You can come over. We'll do a lasso run. Me and you. I get the next couple days off. You know.
You know what? You have to carry me the whole way because I'm literally gonna die every 2 seconds. But it would now, like I said, I've beaten at least not all of them. I've done 1, 2, 3, reach, and 4, I think. And ODST I did on Legendary, but again, it was co-op. Um, but I didn't even think about that
I'm
one.
guessing Scott carried you through, didn't he?
And this was before all the. I think he carried me through 4 and
He
reach, but
probably
all the
carried
other
you
ones.
through ODST too.
Well, no, all those other ones came out, I think, before I had met you all, and played a
Oh,
lot of that.
I
Actually,
thought
you're right.
ODST came out when I was working at
No,
GameStop.
yeah, you're right. Probably ODST and Reach and 4, but 1, 2, and 3, it was my buddies Quentin, Corey, Josh, and all them, where we would always play co-op.
Yeah, I thought you were
But
good at two though.
I was good at 2. I did do good at 2. I'm just saying that when I played it on Legendary, I
But you just
happened.
said that somebody had to carry you through it.
Well, it's camaraderie carrying back then. Like I could have done it by myself, but it was for the purposes of socialization and friendship. Um anyway, asshole. Um Probably the most obvious gaming rumor that I feel that you knew all of. One of these you brought up already, but the whole Mew under the truck thing.
So it's funny because I had a buddy, just like we talked about, rumors are rumors, but he had a Mew in the game. And we're like, how did you get it? How did you get it? How did you get it? And I remember him saying something that was like, you had to do this, this, and this, but we could never, it obviously didn't work.
Yeah. So that I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever saw anyone with a Mew in the game, it was through a GameShark. Like
Oh,
there
yeah.
was,
No, I found
yeah.
that out.
Oh
He
yeah,
eventually found that out.
yeah. Because it was the whole thing of it, being in the truck, by this boat, and all of that, and it was. I mean, the fact that rumors spread the way that they did before the internet, and you may not remember this kind of era, um, is mind-boggling to me. Because I mean, and not just gaming rumors, like it's insane some of the rumors that I remember growing up as a kid when we didn't have the internet. Um, I won't get into that, but this is a prime example. It's just like this wasn't. I mean, the internet was in its infancy, but everyone knew about somehow, and it was always. I don't know about you, but when someone would tell me about it, it was always, um,
You would try it
oh,
because you'd want to fact check it. And
well,
then,
and
but then you would try it and then it wouldn't work or something. You're like, well, wait, am I doing something wrong?
Well, and it was always someone who would tell you about it was always, "Oh, dude, my buddy's cousin's friend got it and showed it to me," and just enough separation where it couldn't be verified.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sure. I mean, I totally blew smoke up people's asses about stuff too because I wanted to be cool. Um, Now, missing no in
I've already
uh,
brought that one up, but that
you
one was a
you
thing.
yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. If I remember though, missing note didn't require. I know it came up when we were talking about GameSharks, but it didn't require any of that. Like it was just legitimately in the game.
No, it was just in the game. Like, I never used a Game Shark on any of my games back in the day because we didn't have one. My buddy got his, when I was talking about the Mew, he got it from a friend who had a Game Shark. But the missing no stuff, like Wayne found out how to do it and showed me how to do it, and where you had to go to Viridian and then go down, and then it had to be the item that was in like the 7th slot or something like that, and then you had to do the missing no stuff. Like that was something that I just knew about. Like that's it. Um,
Well, it's like
but
you
I
said,
just like I said, the biggest thing I remember is if you caught the missing no, it broke your game.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like it was, and I can't remember the story or the history behind why it was there, but it again was some kind of debug type thing that got left in, and you know, but it was a rumor per se, but it wound up being true. Um, which is cool. I mean, hey, who doesn't want an infinite number of rare candies and master balls, even if it broke your game, like for that short life. But of course, back then you couldn't have multiple saves on a Pokemon. Hell, I don't know if you still can. Actually, now I think about it, I don't think you can.
No,
No,
every cartridge only has one.
yeah. Well, no, I'm
But a
saying
Switch,
like
you can just
even
create a new profile.
yeah. That's it. Yeah. Another one for Nintendo though is playing as Luigi in Mario 64.
I didn't know this one.
Yeah, so it like apparently was, and I remember hearing about it, but I never like gave it a whole lot of thought. Well, apparently the where it came from is there was a random texture on a star stone where it said they thought it said now we're talking N64 L is real 2401. They thought there was a weird combination of 241 that would unlock Luigi, like certain amount of stars or something like that. Like, and legitimately, like I remember hearing about again, my cousin's friend's nephew played as Luigi, da da
Yeah.
da da. And now what's
There's a couple of
hysterical
these I know about.
well, what's hysterical is in 2020, apparently, it leaked that they were considering making it co-op with Luigi. And apparently there was like some deep-rooted code or something that someone found, and Nintendo had to put out a statement that there is no way to play as Luigi, but they were considering it, which is interesting. Um, now Now, this next one is probably the one that, unfortunately, I have to say I was the one telling friends that I knew someone who did this. And that was the whole thing. And I'm sure you're like, of course, this is the one that you were running your mouth about. But in Tomb Raider 2,
Well, I mean, with the amount of family computers y'all went through because of you, I don't.
man, we didn't go through that
Doesn't
many family
surprise me.
computers. We had one gateway computer. We didn't have to replace that computer.
Okay, sorry, I said that wrong. The amount of times your mom had to buy the antivirus.
We did change computers twice. Never mind. I just thought about it. I was like, no, we went to a Dell and then we went to an HP. So yeah, never mind. We did change computers a couple times. Um, but it was the whole thing, and it was called Nude Raider. And it was when Tomb Raider 2 came out. Everyone was already obsessed with Lara Croft from the first Tomb Raider, but even more so with the first one or with the second one. And every everybody had a friend's, cousin's, nephew's friend that had actually pulled it off. And what's hysterical is for me, the reason why people like believed me when I said it is Tomb Raider 2 was primarily available on the PS1, but it was also available on the Sega Saturn. No one else had a Sega Saturn. Like that was not a system that people had. Now, it's funny because I have two emulators, or two ROMs on my Steam Deck from Sega Saturn because I just remember playing them. Anyway, no one I knew had or played a Saturn. My uncle did. So I would always tell people about when they talk about Nude Raider, like, "Dog, you're making it up, man. You're making it up." I said, "Dog, it's a real thing, but it's only on Sega Saturn." And because of that, everyone was like, "Oh," So I had so many people believe in me that that was real because I fell on the Sega Saturn. Um, Now I do think he has finally come to Super Smash Brothers at some point in time, but there was a
Sonic is definitely there now.
yeah, there is because now Nintendo and Sonic are buddies, but back on Smash 64, like there were rampant rumors around Sonic being in Smash, but he wasn't. There wasn't that locked in collaboration at that stage because, N64, PS1, you also had the Dreamcast. Sega hadn't pulled out of the console game yet. I don't think it was till the next generation where we started seeing Sonic come over to the GameCube and all that stuff. Now, another one, again, I probably should have asked Brian about this one because he's so into Ocarina of Time. But I do remember once I Googled and researched this, I do remember hearing a lot of people about it. But getting the Triforce in Ocarina of Time, in the menu where you get all your other stuff, there's a Triforce, and it looks like, and that's where the rumor apparently got a lot of traction, is people were convinced that those were placeholders for the Triforce and that you could in fact find them, but it's completely unobtainable. Like, it doesn't exist in the game, but people were super convinced. Now another rumor that did come true. I don't think it became a thing. It was either 3 or 4. 4 is the newest Diablo, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's 3. I know
3.
it's 3.
Yeah, the cow level. That started back with the first Diablo. It did not exist. It did not exist in
Actually,
Diablo
I think
2.
they put it in.
Oh, did they put it in the old ones?
Yeah, I think it was Diablo 2. Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
Diablo 2.
Yep. Okay, so they did.
It was a rumor for Diablo 1. Diablo 2 is when it came in.
That's it. And then they went back and put it in with the updates with that resurrected, updated version. Yeah.
Yeah. But the only reason I know this, there's a guy that I worked with that used to talk about it all the time because that's what he did all the time.
Yeah. And then just, in general with we're going to talk GTA in our second side quest, but San Andreas apparently had a massive, and I do remember hearing about it, even though San Andreas I played the least, but Bigfoot apparently walking around in San Andreas never was a thing, never existed. Sure, we've got all the weird alien things and all of that in GTA 5 now, but it definitely was not a thing in San Andreas at all. And people say, it's like the real Bigfoot. People swear that it exists, but somehow, some way, we have 4K cameras and all kinds of stuff. But every picture of Bigfoot is like the worst quality camera ever. Seemed like that was the same way whenever you would see pictures online in San Andreas of people seeing Bigfoot. But before we close out the story mode, the one thing that I will say, and I feel like there's going to be a joke or a dig of some kind that's going to come in at me on this statement, but I don't think we have a lot of cheat codes anymore. I haven't looked them up in a while. Like I said, PC wise, you got mods. I mean, that's kind
It's
of
all
your
mods. It's all
yeah,
mods. Yeah.
that's your equivalent. But on console, I don't really see cheat codes out there anymore. However, there are a lot of games, and I want to be cognizant of how I explain this so that it's not misinterpreted. You can dig on me for why I know about it, but a lot of games have an insane amount of accessibility options for gamers of all capabilities. And the two games that immediately come to mind now Sony is really known for their accessibility, like The Last of Us. Heck, I just watched a short clip of a guy streaming it who is blind, and he's able to play The Last of Us because of all the accessibility settings. But the two games that come to mind for me were Control, which Control Resident comes out in September, and I'm not going to lie to you, I am not going to play Control Resident unless it has these accessibility features that the first Control had. And it
So basically, you're
literally,
trying to say you want it to be super easy, so you can't
yeah.
die.
So it
Just
has.
like, okay, tell them why you played. Tell them why you played the Final Fantasy remakes. What made you play the Final Fantasy remakes, Chase?
I mean, so
No. Let's talk about it.
no. So okay. So before okay. So Control. We'll go back to Final Fantasy. So Control has accessibility features that literally give you like infinite health and all this stuff. I enabled the shit out of all of it, and I was able to play and had a blast with the game. Had a blast. I know Wayne is cringing as he hears me says this. And I hope Control Resonant has it as well. Because when I tried to play Control even on easy, it was very challenging for me. and I was very engaged in the story, as confusing as it was, so I wanted to get through it. Now to Final Fantasy, yes, I needed to go back and play Rebirth because I didn't finish it. I have finished it now. Brian told me that they were coming out with an update with the Switch 2 and Xbox release of Final Fantasy Rebirth. Um, that had, I don't even know what they call it, but it's all those features that you can enable when you start the game, where you like gain experience super fast, or you start off at max level, or any of that stuff. And that was the entire reason, because I struggled with Rebirth when it first came out. Not difficulty, just engagement. So I knew I did not want to have to go back through all of that. So yes, I played Final Fantasy Rebirth starting at level 70 through the whole game. Don't you be judging. Um, like
But
it, you know.
I get what
Uh,
you're saying.
but the other one about accessibility though is Forza. Forza, I love Forza, and I actively play the crap out of Forza. However, you know how much I like having passive games to play, like when I'm watching something or something like that. Like I like playing Slay the Spire because it's a passive game. Forza, with its accessibility settings, I can literally like do the auto drive feature for the purposes of just gaining experience and gaining money. You gain significantly less money and significantly less experience, but I can continue working toward those unlocks by letting it auto drive. So it's a cool thing. So cheats are kind of disguised as accessibility, but I don't want to say that in a disrespectful way, because the accessibility settings for what they're intended for are outstanding. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so I
All right.
think,
Well,
yeah, I think it does it for the story
that's
mode.
our story mode. Let's
All
hop
right,
in our side quest.
jump into our first side quest, which is Power Cycle. So, Power Cycle, it's normally a deep pool that we grab right off the top of our head. But rather than it being something just kind of deep rooted, it's going to be a question. I'm going to ask you the question, and you're going to ask me the question. And it's basically just expanding a little bit more on what we already talked about in the story mode. But of all the different gaming rumors that existed, could be the ones we've talked about, or maybe you remembered one while we were talking that we didn't bring up. Of all the different rumors, which ones or one did you believe, and why did you believe it, or what did you do to achieve it?
Mine was the Mew. When Lavelle had that Mew, I remember seeing it, and I was really young, but believing him and like saying, "Okay, look," and trying. I remember we stayed the night at his
Believe
house,
it.
and we were trying to get that. Like I tried everything, trying to figure it out. He was like, "You got to do this. You got to do this." Well, it worked for me. Look, I have it. And then finally, like it was like 2 weeks later, we were staying at his house again, and he told us, like, "Okay, look, I got it from a GameShark because he had more and he traded them to us." So,
Yeah,
but that was mine.
and that's the thing. I very much, because my friends did not use. They were like anti Game Sharks back then. Because this is obviously well before I met you all. I was all about it. So as soon as I started getting stuff on Game Sharks, like it was all about trading and doing this and doing that, and it was. Now, um did you all ever try to take that Mew from the Game Shark from and put it on Pokemon Stadium on the N64? Because if I remember correctly, would I seem to remember somebody trying to do that, and it would like completely like not like it either wouldn't work. Um, I think initially it didn't work, but then there were certain modes that it wasn't available for, but it would potentially corrupt save files, just like it would on the Game Boy. But if you loaded it into Pokemon Stadium, it could potentially um, corrupt your file there too. And and so one more reason to be careful with Game Sharks and glitches when consoles connected and all of that, because you could brick totally different games. Um, I think for me, when I think about the rumor that I believed and what I did to achieve it, I actually forgot to bring this one up. But in Metal Gear Solid, again, I was looking back at some old notes, and I remember. So first off, on our big episode last week, y'all were giving me shit about the longest I've ever played to fight a boss and da 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 da. Because we're talking about Elden Ring and how Wayne played like 8 days of trying to beat that boss. Um, I, as an 8-year-old kid, 9-year-old kid, sorry, 9-year-old kid, struggled with some of the bosses on Metal Gear Solid. Like I did. Like it took me a little bit to beat some of these bosses. One of the bosses, Vulcan Raven, the second time you fight him, you have to follow him around. You can do claymores, you can do the Nikita missiles or Stinger missiles or C4. And I was struggling with that fight. And one of the things that I was like hearing from friends about or looking up was like you can climb up on the containers and hide from Vulcan Raven and then shoot him with a missile. And I was like, there's no way you can't climb up on anything. I was like, but it didn't stop me from trying. And I feel like I spent more time trying to climb up on these fake containers to beat this boss fight than actually trying to
Instead
beat
of
the
just
boss
beating
fight.
him.
Which I did eventually beat the boss fight. I mean, the boss fight I spent the most time on Metal Gear Solid was the Hind D fight, but the second longest one was that Vulcan Raven fight. And it was because, and what's funny, you remember Dwayne that we worked with at GameStop?
Yeah.
So we talked about it working at GameStop, and he was like, "Did you ever fall for that back in the?" I didn't know Dwayne in '98, obviously, but I remember him bringing it up. He's like, "Hey, did you ever hear that rumor about climbing? Did you ever fall for it?" And I felt like instantly ashamed. I'm like, "Well, yeah, I spent forever trying." And he was like, "Dude, there's no button to climb." I was, "Yeah, okay, whatever." So, but it's something about being young and dumb and gullible. We just happen to fall for more things. I will say that I don't think, like I said, there's not a lot of like rumors or things today because things are so verifiable. But I feel like the issue now is all the AI stuff. Like
Yeah.
I I I
So
I
it
think
looks real.
I think we all have been fooled at some capacity, like where we've sent stuff in the group chat and then realized, because we get really excited, we send it, we don't validate it first. It's like, oh crap, that's fake. So I mean, so it's kind of a different thing. But even then, now some of the AI stuff will get traction unless you know what to look for. So it's kind of the same
Yeah.
thing, but I think we do better
Um.
about it these days.
Yeah. So I just want to bring something up that we didn't talk about, but we talked about Mortal Kombat earlier. Tekken's
Mhm.
another one that had the unlocks for the characters.
Did it really? Oh, unlocks for characters. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you had like Devil Jin that you could unlock. You had like Kazuya. I don't remember if Kazuya was an unlock or an original character, but you get what I'm saying. Like where you had to beat it with certain people to unlock it.
You know
I just
what?
wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, and I feel like I would need Howie on here to validate this, but I feel like there's another rumor that didn't come up. Let's see. I'm fairly certain that there was like an April Fool's Day thing or something around Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball and being able to unlock like nudity in that game. But I'll have to ask Howie for validation on that, if because I seem to remember that. Not that I ever owned the game. I think I've rented it from Blockbuster, but I don't think I ever owned it. And Howie would definitely know that answer. But what made me think of that is talking about unlockables. Dead or Alive had so many costume unlockables. I remember Howie
Yeah,
grinding Dead or Alive for costume unlocks.
yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
So
So, all right, let's jump into our. Let's kind of wrap up Power Cycle. Let's go ahead and jump into our disc of the day. So, brought up disc of the day, and it to be GTA. I actually think I intended on us doing disc of the day and talking the GTA series probably a couple episodes ago when they did the pre-orders and stuff for GTA 5, but I think it just got lost with um, doing our quad episode and stuff like that. But um, I mean, Grand Theft Auto. I do not think I've said it 1,000 times. I do not think that the world is prepared for GTA 6 and the absolute global impact that it is going to have. Like,
that's I remember we've talked before about it. It's going to have even a huge economic impact because people are going to like people are gonna call in, people are gonna take off, people are gonna it's just gonna happen.
Kids are going to take off. People are going to be staying inside playing. I mean, I don't think that like gamers, I think understand it. People in the entertainment space understand, but
But
like our
that's the thing. GTA is a game that people that don't play games play GTA.
right, yeah. I mean, like when I tell my mom about it and other people, they're just like, or people at work, they're like, yeah, it's just a game coming out. It's like, I don't think you understand. Like, this is going to be massive, and frankly, GTA 5 was like this. Like, if I remember correctly, GTA 5 made, I think, $1 billion in the first 24 hours, I believe. And it was, now you were at GameStop when GTA 5 came out, right?
Yeah.
Which store were you at for that midnight launch? Do you remember? Were you at that store for that midnight? Oh my gosh. Man, that was the only midnight GTA I experienced was GTA 4. First off, what was your first GTA experience? Would it have been?
So played GTA 3 on PS2.
Okay.
My dad played it. My brother and my dad played it a little bit. We rented it from Blockbuster or something and played it. Um,
I didn't know if it was
I
3, Vice City, or San Andreas.
It was 3, and then we played Vice City and San Andreas at a buddy's house, but San Andreas is the one that, remember I told that story about my dad and I wanted it in the house, so we never played it. And then he
Right.
played GTA 5 with it. Well, so we played it at a buddy's house, and then GTA 5 is the first one that we played all of us together stuff.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I played a couple on the PS1, but I couldn't play them at the house. I had to play them at buddy Quentin's house. Like, Quentin's house is where I played Mortal Kombat. It's where I watched South Park. It's where I played Grand Theft Auto, because I wasn't able to play those games. But I did play GTA 3. Again, I couldn't have it. So I played it at Quentin's house. Now, because unfortunately, like Metal Gear Solid, I was just telling mom this the other day. Metal Gear Solid is a mature rated game, but I was able to get it because she didn't know anything about the rating system. But a game titled Grand Theft Auto is like instantly like, okay, you probably shouldn't be playing this game. Um, and like, I mean, GTA was known for, I mean, obviously the most extreme things in the world. I mean, it blew my mind working at GameStop. Now, I started working there, I think, when San Andreas was available, if I remember correctly, because I remember having to do the recalls for. Now, I didn't bring it up with secrets and cheats because we already talked about it in a much earlier episode. It's actually on TikTok that's got like 50,000 views out of nowhere. I think people were searching GTA stuff. But in San Andreas, you had the hot coffee glitch. It was a rumor at first, but then it became true and led to lawsuits, and then the game got recalled and all that stuff.
yeah, we were
But
talking about that.
yeah, but I remember working at GameStop for San Andreas, and then for the GTA 4 launch. Like I remember working that midnight launch and everything, and it was huge. But for me, I remember Vice City. My cousin had it, and he worked on a river, so he was gone for a month, and then home for a month. Well, I'd go to my aunt's, which is where he was staying, and she told me very specifically, she says, "Hey, I know he has this game called Grand Theft Auto Vice City. You are not allowed to play it when you're over here." I was like, "Well, mom would let me play it." Because at this point, mom didn't care what I was playing. And she's like, "Well, you're gonna be in my house, so you're not playing it." And I will never forget, I was sitting in a recliner playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City because I thought my aunt was asleep. And she came in at like the worst possible time because I had like a 5-star wanted level and I was sitting there like gunning down military, like, oh, it was awful. And I got in so much trouble. And I mean, I think I was like 14. I mean, technically those games were 17. Did you have a spiel when people would come in to buy a mature rated game? Like, did you have a very specific spiel that you would say to people?
What I did every single time is I would say this game's rated for mature 4, and I would flip it over and I would read it.
Yep. And dude, if no one has looked at the back of a GTA case and all of the stuff that is listed on that. Like I feel um let me see if I
I
can
mean, GTA
find
5 is the one that had the titty story from Rob.
yes. Oh, that's right. Well, no, I'm trying to
It's
see
got titties in
it's
it.
got titties in it. No, I'm trying to see if I can find an image for what it actually says on the back because no one has
It's nudity, sexual content, explicit.
yeah, intense violence, blood and gore, nudity, mature humor, strong language, strong sexual content, use of drugs and alcohol. Dude, I remember like at
So I
GameStop.
did that every time I saw an M-rated game. I would read that.
Well, and that's the thing. What blew my mind with GTA, if people would come in and I got to a point where I didn't read the back anymore. Like when people a parent would come up with their kid or whatever with Grand Theft Auto, I'm like, "Are you aware this game's rated mature?" And they would always say the same thing. Well, he plays Call of Duty, it's fine. I was like, "Okay, well, you're aware this game has sex, drugs, all that stuff in it, like nudity, et cetera, et cetera." And it was the sex and the nudity and the drugs that would sometimes make the parents be like, "Oh no, 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 no." I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Wait a minute. Like in the grand scheme, what GTA is rated mature for is like way more common to see on like in real life or on TV than like some of the crazy blood and gore and stuff of like Resident Evil or even Call of Duty. Like, I mean, think about Modern Warfare and that no Russian mission.
Here's a
So
War is another one that's like that.
yeah, yeah. Oh man.
Because you're cutting people literally in half. Like,
Right. So it always blew my mind where parents would be like, "Oh, they're fine," I or like the parents who would not let them play GTA. It's because, well, they play Gears of War, they play Call of Duty, they'll be fine. I don't mind those, but the section in nudity I can't do. It's like, I mean, they see that at that time, that was primetime TV had that stuff in it. So it always kind of blew my mind. Um, but GTA 4, I do remember that midnight launch. I did not work at Southland when GTA 4 came out, but Brian and Zach were. And Zach, if I remember correctly, somebody tried to bum rush the door, and he was like a wrestler on the side or something like that, and he had like tackled the dude. Was trying to like bum rush the door. Now, and maybe did they have a gun situation there? I can't. I just remember GTA 4 was nuts. I did not work at GameStop
GTA
when GTA
5
4.
was insane as 7 or 7. We had a line out the wazoo. Like, we were doing the midnight, or it was
Did
still
it
midnight
was
launch
it was it
territory.
going the Best Buy
We
direction or the other direction?
The other way. We had to keep that's whenever they stopped letting us send it the Best Buy direction. So you had to
Oh
send it
yeah,
the other way and around and stuff like that. And then on top of that, you had like the next day was insane. Like the actual day of launch was insane. So, and
man,
we were having people mad because it had the download disc and all that. So they were
that's
mad because it didn't have
right.
the because people were trying to buy like the small, because again, GTA is a game that people will buy a system for. So GTA would they were trying to buy the cheapest system possible to play, and then they couldn't play, and then they were having to buy hard drives, and it was a
I
whole thing.
forgot all about that. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean I got it on PS3 when it first launched, and then got it on PS4, and then I've had it I don't know how many times on PS5, but I do have my GTA 6 pre-ordered. I'm ready to rock and roll when it comes out. Thanksgiving is going to be a blast. And I mean, what's your before we close out this side quest and head into the save point, what is your estimate on the length of time before GTA Online for GTA 6 releases?
I think it's going to be at least a month. I mean, they gave 2 weeks for the last one, and they said this one's even bigger than 5. So I think you're going to have at least a month. They're very big on wanting you to finish your campaign.
Yeah. I think I was gonna say a month, and I still kind of want to, but the fact that a month later is going to be right around Christmas, I think they're going to push it to 2 months, and I think it's going to be in January, right after the turn of the year, is when we're going to get it. Is what I think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Either way, I'm
But
fired up for it.
well, I also think they're going to release this one different than they did the last one. So, like when they released GTA 4, if you remember, there wasn't a whole lot you could do at the beginning of GTA 4, and now there's so much you can do in GTA.
Oh yeah, you're
or
talking
GTA
about
5. Sorry,
GTA
GTA
5. Yeah,
5. Yeah, GTA
yeah,
5. Like at the beginning of GTA 5 online, you couldn't really do hardly anything. Now there's so much you can do. You can have dealerships, money. You can have,
dude. I've
just
been. I jumped back into GTA 5 because of all of that stuff. Remember, I was seeing you the pictures about weed business
yeah.
and all that. Because yeah. So I mean, hey, I would love it if they combined the ecosystems because of all the shark cards I've bought over the years. But that's wishful thinking and probably won't happen. So, all right, let's
I
go
think they'll do
ahead.
that, but I think the online's gonna release with more stuff.
Oh,
Like I don't
yeah,
think it's gonna release just plain Jane.
no, I agree, and I do hope they don't do what they did with GTA 5. I hope they do not do the flying bikes and all that crap. But if they do, it's fine. It took them like 4 years before we got the flying bike shenanigans in GTA 5, but I would prefer not to have all that craziness. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into our save. All right. So, definitely a shorter, more on brand episode this week. Um it wasn't as
What, a little
crazy as
over an hour probably?
yeah, I think we're just a little bit over an hour. Nothing crazy. But inevitably when we have four of us, especially when we're going through kind
They're
of
always gonna go longer.
oh yeah. Yeah. Plus we had so many things to go through. But we got into a lot of stuff today. We went through some urban myths, some legends that didn't actually exist, some that did, with Missing No and a couple others, and just kind of reminiscing, going down memory lane on a few different things, some a little modern, some not so modern, and then got into a couple good things with our side quests. But as always, we appreciate you hanging out with us and coming to listen, and always provide any feedback. You can get to us on all the social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Discord as well. Discord is, I'm trying to drop a few more things in the Discord, like previews of upcoming episodes, as well as that's where we're going to try and gather Q&A feedback. By the way, which I think I've leaned on the fact that we'll probably do that Q&A episode when we get to our 1 year episode, is what I think we're going to do. That kind of makes the most sense, I think. But yeah, Discord as well. Then the email, the midnight release pod at gmail.com. And you can always follow up with us in those areas. Very much appreciate you listening wherever you are listening to us. Next week, we mentioned in patch notes, I think last week or week before, kind of what our upcoming slate was going to look like. Next week, we're going to be jumping back into the cinematic world, looking at some peak cinematic throwbacks, if you will. So very nostalgic in nature, meaning probably way more nostalgic for me than for Austin. I feel like Austin, you'll probably, when you look at these lists, I don't know, you might have some memories with the older list, but we'll see when we get into that next week. Did I miss anything?
No, I think we're good. Thank you all for listening.
Yep. As always, we very much appreciate you. And remember, some memories are worth lining up for.